A robot sat under the oddly blue waterfall next to a plastic sign reading, "I am Robot 220. I am useful around the house with children and pets, and I do not rust. Please ask me about my functions." The We Never Close indoor shopping mall was busy all day long and well into the evening, when not many people asked 220 asked any questions. Humanoid household robots were commonplace, and this one was just like all the others, except that he was supposed to be completely waterproof. The blue water splashing on his head and on his shoulders seemed to iridesce as drops ran down the flex metal covering his body. Unless someone asked him to demonstrate in action to show that his arms and legs hadn't rusted to immobility, he was motionless except for occasional blinking. All robots with human intuitive eyes could blink to clean the lenses. "Aren't you bored sitting under that falling water all day and night?" asked a small boy who had temporarily escaped from under his robot nanny. "No, young master." "What do you think about?" "Nothing." The little boy shrugged and wandered off, oblivious to the fact that 220 had not added the conventional young master or sir when he answered the last time. "I forgot," thought 220. Something must be wrong. No robot was particularly bright, but 220's model could use the cognitive reasoning better than most. He shut his eyes in order to concentrate more effectively. "I forgot because I was preoccupied with the realization that I had lied to the young master. I did not mean to lie. I always answer nothing when anyone asks me what I could think about, because I seldom do think about anything. I calculate the weight and spend the speed of falling drops sometimes, and count the number of people who pass per hour, and I check my internal clock with the slant of sunbeams through the glass roof of the day passes, but usually that's all my mind does. This time it's different." For the first time since he had been activated, 220's emotive circuits went into full operation. "I am experiencing a strange, uncomfortable mental sensation that I deduce is probably guilt. Data built into my memory bank indicates that this is the normal reaction of a robot brain cognizant of the fact that it has made a mistake. It was a mistake. I did not lie deliberately. I was just thinking about something. "Well, have you deactivated? Rusted through?" said a voice that sounded rusty itself. 220 opened his eyes. Standing before the waterfall was an elderly human female, holding a full shopping bag. "I am intact, master. I am waterproof." Even as he said it, 220 realized that he had lied again. That's what he had been thinking about when the child questioned him, about the fact that he was not, after all, waterproof. "How long have you been sitting in that scummy water full of blue dye?" "1 month, master." "I'm glad I'm not you. You may be incapable of rusting. If you stay there long enough, you're going to get covered with scum. You'd better tell the manager that's already growing around your right eye. Looks as if some kid put eyeshadow on you. I'd tell the manager myself, but I have to get an air taxi before they're all taken." She walked away with her shopping bag. 220 touched his right eyelid with his right finger. The human was correct. The finger now had a blue smudge that the falling water washed away only when he rubbed it hard. That was a lie. Although I am not rusting and the organic matter clinging to my right eye socket is not damaging my flexy metal skin, nevertheless, I am not waterproof. I now detect that the right eye socket is imperfect. Water has penetrated. No, not water. I was misled because all organic matter is composed of a high percentage of water. The teeny crack in the back of my right eye socket has been penetrated by some of the organic matter living in the recirculated water falling on me. Microorganisms are now living inside my body, changing and spilling out into the outer socket and lid. 220 watched a crowd of people hurrying through the shopping mall. It was the end of the day and most of the people would be leaving. None of them looked at him as he carefully wiped the blue scum from his right eye. I do not have enough data in my memory bank to tell what kind of organic creatures are living in the waterfall, except that they are mindless and as small as a single cell, perhaps as small as a bacteria. I know that organic life can change, and the change can be passed on to the next generation. 220 remembered that dying is part of organic life, occasionally even for those organisms that reproduce primarily through fission or exchange of substance. His emotive sensors surged as he overworked his internal sensors. There are creatures dying inside my brain, but dead matter is not accumulating, so they must be eating by the living. I have never thought more of living organic creatures have to do. Even the humans who come to the shopping mall have to eat and eventually die. But humans change so slowly, unlike the creatures inside my head. The sky above the glass roof of the shopping mall was now dark, and there were few people left, but the inside lighting increased in strength. Concealed spotlights changed color as they swung back and forth to create a cascade of brilliance over the wet robot. The water is much more iridescent than it ever has been. It is also more opaque because the organic matter in it is thicker. Inside me, the microorganisms grow and spread along the electronic pathways that control all the parts of my body. Shall I tell the manager when he returns in the morning? He will tell the robotics company who sold me to the shopping mall. 220 closed his eyes again and focused on the data from his internal sensors. He decided to review what he would tell the manager and the robotics expert. Organic matter has penetrated a flaw in my right eye socket. Now, microorganisms living along my electronic circuits and bask in the energy field surrounds the microbubbles in my brain. The organisms are changing rapidly, perhaps more rapidly than they are in the waterfall. They may have many mutations and reproduce frequently, yet my brain has not deactivated and they have not altered my functioning. I'm not certain about that. Perhaps I'm not certain about anything now. Perhaps my sensors are lying to me. I must protect my own existence, so I must report what has happened. Should I rise and leave the waterfall and wait to tell the manager's office? Everyone was so sure that I was waterproof that they did not give me an emergency number to call in case of trouble. What should I do? 220 did nothing. He sat quietly under the waterfall while midnight came and went, and the shopping mall lights dimmed slightly, and the Earth's moon passed over the glass roof like a botched spotlight someone had forgotten to turn off. A patrolling cop turned out two vagrants who tried to sleep inside the mall, and then went to inspect the other stories. 220 saw no other human till daybreak. One of the human cooks for the nearby restaurant entered the mall and walked by 220's waterfall just as the full lights turned on. He glanced at the robot. "Hello, 220. Usually no one ever said hello. "Hello," said 220. "What happened to your body?" asked the cook. "It positively glistens with all sorts of colors." "It is the water," said 220, but the cook had vanished into the restaurant, and he was alone again. I must report my brain has been invaded. But if I do, then the robotics repair service will do whatever must be done to destroy the microorganisms and close up the opening. At the worst, they will deactivate me, clean out my body, and restart my brain. I will not have any memories of the past. I will not be the same individual. 220's emotive circuits gyrated. I cannot refuse to report on the grounds that it will endanger the existence of the individual I now am. I am not important as an individual. This body and brain are valuable, and I have permanent orders to protect them, not my individuality. Well, very well. I will report and lose my individuality. He raised his head and watched the spray of water droplets reflect and refract the view of the pale sky and beyond the glass roof. Each drop seemed different, individual. I must report, soon. Is there any other reason why my emotive circuits indicate my reporting condition is not a good thing? The scum splashed over his feet and seemed to glow intensely in the growing daylight. People hurried into the shopping mall to open stores and booths and eating places. If I report, and if they destroy the organism is infecting me, they will be destroying living creatures. Humans, any living creatures, always destroy others that live. I cannot help it. That is what it is to be organic, alive. But I am a robot, and I'm supposed to keep life from harm. I have never had the chance to do this. Until now. He saw the manager of the shopping mall walking by. Mr. Smellington? Yes, 220? Snellington stopped and ate a donut he was holding while he looked at the robot. It was a long night, said 220. Really? I suppose it always is. What did you think about? Snellington finished the donut and began to walk away without waiting for an answer. 220 stood up and watched the people go by. None of them noticed him. Nobody else asked him what he was thinking, but by this time he knew the answer. He climbed carefully out of the shallow pool at the bottom of the waterfall and walked toward the back door of the mall. There was a nature preserve nearby, with water in case the microorganisms needed it, and plenty of sunlight. His own energy supply, a permanent fuse pack, would last for centuries. I am thinking all the time now, thought 220. I am thinking about being alive.